Hey, my name's Dan. Let me tell you a story about this guy. This guy's name is Anupam Gupta. Now, a writer over at Mint Lounge, the writer's name is Reem Kokar, interviewed Anupam and found out that this Greater Noida, India-based 43-year-old was traveling 120 kilometers to Gurugram, India, to make the trip into his office. And he does the trek twice a week. So it's 120 kilometers there and 120 kilometers back. His organization, an unnamed but very well-known tech company, is where he works, and he works as a pre-sales solution architect, as a senior fellow there. So although the company provides office transportation, those fixed timings don't match Gupta's schedule. His schedule is very much more dependent on international-based company interactions. So he likes being remote. He likes working from home, and that allows him to do his job in a more effective way. But he started to make appearances in the office to the point of 2 office days a week. Why? Because the company mandated these. And so he's marking his presence. He's grabbing a coffee, maybe a lunch with colleagues, and then he leaves to do most of the work that he's supposed to do at his home. So he travels 120 kilometers to get there, takes him 2 hours, and then he travels another 120 kilometers home to finish up his day, which takes another 2 hours. That's 4 hours. So what did Gupta say to Kokar, the writer, in this particular session? He said, "Yes, I plead guilty of being a coffee badger for at least half of my recent office visits. Visiting the office is an obligation one must fulfill. Traveling to work is an ordeal. Office parking and workstation availability is scarce. 4 hours on the road makes me prefer working from home." Yeah, coffee badging. It's a thing. And for me, I'm landing somewhere between it's one of the greatest work hacks of all time to one of the more recent examples of it being a hideous case study of espoused values versus enacted values. So what do I mean? Well, first of all, what's coffee badging? Coffee badging is when team members who commute to the office, they just do so to clock in, and then they get on with their day back at home. So because perhaps their employer's return to work policy or RTO, return to office, which was set up after years of very successful hybrid or remote work itself to sort of get bums in the seats. And many organizations are doing so with 4 or 5 days back to the office. People have said, you know what? I'll play your game. I'm gonna swipe my badge. Many people have employee badges, and just in case, those bosses are checking in on who has shown up at the office for that day. So they'll badge in, they'll have a coffee, maybe they have lunch, go see some coworkers, and then they leave to continue the rest of their day or their night at home. And this has been seen as earning, quote, the coffee badge, which is putting in that official appearance without really bothering to conduct this full day of work in the office, but they're still working a full day because they're back at home doing their thing. So maybe they attend a morning meeting, maybe they come in at break, halfway through the morning, maybe they come in at lunch, maybe they're coming in the afternoon. Whatever the point is, they're not clocking out. They're not doing their job, they're doing their job. So why is coffee badging a thing, and what's the problem? Well, I think it's a great work hack, as I've mentioned, but really it's happening because there's this breakdown in trust, and it's twofold. We have employers/senior leaders who seem to not trust team members doing their jobs to despite the fact they've been doing it for several years rather well remotely. Obviously, these are knowledge worker roles. These aren't roles where it's frontline service team members, CPG, things in which that you need to be in front of a customer, etc. But the reverse is true as well, meaning that there's employees/team members who no longer trust their senior leaders. Why? Because there's all this corporate spying and surveillance going on. They're checking in who's badging in each day. So they're going to game the system. They're going to clock in with a badge swipe, have that coffee, and ensure that they don't get fired because they're proving the point. They're saying, look, you told me I needed to be here. I'm here, and I'm just going to get on with my job. So there's no performance issue per se when it comes to what that employee is doing. They're doing their job. They're just kind of saying, I don't trust you to not fire me if I'm not in the office. So I'm going to show you I have been in the office. So is this a sad state of affairs or what? People are resorting to coffee badging. I'm all for flexible work, but I'm also all for coming into the office for purposeful connection. After all, we all most definitely do need face-to-face interactions, relationship building, contacts, physical contact, idea generating, bumps in the hallway, all those serendipitous moments, and so on. But if coffee badging has become a thing, then maybe we ought to take a step back and ask ourselves, when it comes to the type of corporate cultures that we want, the espoused values, ones that are resilient, innovative, collaborative, purpose-driven, maybe we ought to rethink what our espoused values are if we're enacting values by forcing people into the office and not having conversations about what makes sense for us as an organization or team to ensure we do have some of those face-to-face interactions rather than having coffee badging as the way in which for our actual culture, our enacted culture, to be taking place. So this coffee's on me. I'm a cappuccino fan, extra hot, triple shot. But if I had my druthers, I'd certainly like to see the last of coffee badging.